Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are meal prepping and it is actually a few days after Thanksgiving and I want to get back on track and eat a little bit better. Kind of slipped a little bit the last couple days with Thanksgiving. Just had a few extra things that are maybe not, keto friendly. This is actually going to be a keto meal prep, but this is good for everybody. You don't have to eat keto if, you don't have to be on a keto diet to enjoy these items, but they are very low carb, which is, good for everybody. And if you are new here, I am vegan. I've been vegan for over 3 years and I do vegan keto for the last 10 months and I've lost 65 pounds. I have a whole playlist. I'll link it right above here in the iCards if you want to check that out, how my progress was over 10 months. Still going strong, but like I said, it slipped a little bit over Thanksgiving, but it's all good. It's okay once in a while to have a little extra. But I didn't eat anything totally bad, no like white bread, white flour or anything like that, because that can really totally mess up your whole digestive system. And like I said, go check out my playlist and I talk a lot more about that and, some of the digestive issues that I have suffered from over the years. So I try to stay away from that, a lot. Anyway, so we're going to just keep it really simple today for our meal prep for the week. So let me show you what we are going to be making. So I have some plant-based meats, so to speak, as they call it, from this one over here is from Aldi's. I picked this up a few weeks. It was on sale. This is their meatless ground plant protein. It's pretty good. It does have a few extra ingredients in it that are, kind of debatable. Like there is a little bit of some maltodextrin, if I'm saying it right, which is not always a great thing to have. But this is not something I have I'm not going to have all the time. And like I said, I want to just use up what I have for now. And it is pretty low carb as well. I believe it's only like 2 or 3 net carbs per serving. There's like 3.5 servings per container. Just going to crumble that up. And then also the same thing with this too, with the Beyond Beef. I'm going to do the same thing with this. This is the Beyond Beef ground meat. This was actually a sale recently. If you saw my last grocery haul, I bought this really inexpensive at my local ShopRite, but they have it at other stores as well. And it was on Ibotta. There was an Ibotta rebate, which dropped down to I think $5 or $6 for a package, because this is normally like $10. So this was a really great find. And if you have Ibotta or you don't have Ibotta yet, use my link down below. You can get $10 off of after you do your first rebate. And this is actually on Ibotta again this week. So this is such a great deal. There are 4 servings per container. It is only 2 net carbs per serving, so really great low carb item. Whether you are vegan or not, this is just a great or if you're somebody who just likes to do a meat-free meal occasionally, this is a really great thing. So in addition to those, I'm gonna cook these separately. I'm gonna add some onions that I had pre-cut for something else, and I just usually what I do is if I know I'm going to use it for multiple things, I'll just cut a bunch and put it in the bowl. So that's what I did. There's a great tip for you guys. Try to cut all your stuff all at once, and that way it is ready for your multiple, dishes that you are cooking. And I have some leftover jalapenos from my farm share from this past summer and fall in my fridge. So I'm going to chop this up and put that in there as well, and just kind of keep it simple, because I think I'm going to, maybe do some taco bowls or something like that, something to that effect this week. So pretty simple. And then also I have some leftover pumpkin. I made my daughter a vegan pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. It was not keto friendly, but she really enjoyed it. And I did taste a little bit of the filling. It was really, really good. Very simple, and not overly sweet. And she really enjoyed it. So I have a little bit of the pumpkin left. So I think what I'm going to do is I found a recipe on Pinterest from I think it's from Meat Free Keto is her website, and actually I have her book I've showed many times in other meal prep videos. I found a pumpkin waffle recipe, so I'm going to give that a try and see how that works. I don't think it's one that I have tried before, and I'm going to use this coconut flour that I recently just got from Aldi's and give that a try. Because it is coconut flour based, as well as psyllium, a little bit of psyllium husks. When I start preparing it, I'll show you all the rest of the ingredients, and I'll actually link the recipe down below for you guys, so you guys can check it out, because she does have it is on Pinterest as well. So we're gonna make that, and then I'm also going to be making some keto-friendly tortillas. Yes, tortillas, because like I said, we're going to kind of do some Mexican this week. And it is a new recipe that I had found on Pinterest. I tried it once before. It worked out really, really well. So I want to give it another try and share it with you guys, and I'll link that recipe down below for you guys as well, so you guys can check that one out if you're interested. It's so easy. So that's, like I said, going to be pretty simple meal prep today. So let's get started and let's start cooking. All right, so we're going to start with the Beyond Beef. I'm going to cook that first, and what I'm going to do is what I did was I put about a tablespoon of some avocado oil in the pan, and then about half of those onions that I had already cut, and then I chopped up the one jalapeno. Now, guys, be careful when you cut up the jalapenos because your skin can be very, very sensitive. I actually have food safe gloves that I wear every time I cut jalapenos because I'm very sensitive to it. But just so you guys know, if you do get it on your skin, yellow mustard, let it sit on your hands or on your skin for quite a few minutes, and it gets the burn out, because you can really burn your hands from the jalapenos. So just a little tip there for you guys. I might have mentioned that once before. I think when I did my jalapeno popper video, I think I mentioned that, but it really, really, truly works, because I have burnt my hands from those jalapenos before, and it does not feel good. So we're gonna get this going. I'm just gonna cook this till it gets a little soft and tender, and then we're gonna add the Beyond Beef. Alright guys, so you can see the Beyond Meat is now in the pan, and I just kind of crumbled it up. It was still a little bit frozen in the center, so it was a little bit hard to kind of crumble it, but as it continues to cook, I'll crumble it a little bit more. You can leave the pieces a little bit larger if you'd like. So as it continues to cook, like I said, I'll just keep crumbling it up. It cooks pretty quickly, so I'll just keep an eye on it, and I'm actually going to sprinkle a little bit of this Redmond's Real Sea Salt on there as well, just a little tiny bit. Just to kind of give it a little bit extra flavor. It does have a good amount of flavor in it, and also it does have the onions and the jalapenos in there, so you'll get the flavor from that as well. And you can basically do anything with this, but like I said, we're gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm gonna let this cook down, and I will just keep turning it from time to time until it gets browned. And while this is cooking, I'm gonna start working on my pumpkin waffle batter. Alright guys, so we are now on to our pumpkin waffles. Now the recipe will be linked down below, so I'm not going to show you the exact measurements, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my dry ingredients first, and then I'm going to do the wet ingredients separate, as you're supposed to do when you bake. You always kind of do the wet ingredients in one bowl and the dry, and then you combine them at the end. I have to admit, sometimes I don't always do that, but we're going to follow this one exactly, and it's going to form like a sort of like a dough, like a thick dough, not like a traditional like waffle batter. We're going to start with the dry ingredients first. And also, I just wanted to say that the recipe is only for, I believe, one serving, but I had a lot more pumpkin puree than was needed for just one serving, because I want to make multiple servings of it for the week. So you will see more larger amounts than you will see in the recipe, just so you know. But you can always like double it or triple it, however many that you want to make. Usually when I do something like this, I like to make a bunch of them, and you can keep them in the freezer or the refrigerator until later, till a later date. That always works as well. I'm not usually one who just likes to make one serving of something. I like to make multiples, so that's what we're going to be doing today. So like I said, let's start with the dry ingredients, and we're going to start with the coconut flour first. Now we have our baking powder and cinnamon And we're going to put some ground ginger as well. Now, the recipe doesn't call for these two, but I'm just going to add these in just for a little bit extra, flavor. I just really love all these like spices and stuff. So I'm going to add a pinch of some of the ground cloves and a little bit of the ground nutmeg as well. All right, so now we're just going to whisk this up, and then we're going to just set it aside. Alright guys, I just checked the recipe and I almost forgot one more dry ingredient, and this is a pretty crucial one because it kind of binds everything together, but I forgot the psyllium husks, so I'm going to throw that in there as well, and then I'm going to set that aside. Alright guys, so the Beyond Crumbles are all done. As you can see, they taste so good. I gave them a little taste. That jalapeno pepper in there just gives it a nice little like heat in there, but not too much. Make sure when you cut it up, you just remove the seeds because that'll help reduce some of the heat. But it's so good. So I'm going to put this in a container, and then I'm going to move on to the Aldi's plant-based meat. It's basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to cook the onion and then toss the meat in there with that and get that going. And then we're going to continue with our waffle mix. All right, so we are back to our pumpkin waffle batter. I know I keep going back and forth, but it's always good to have multiple things, cooking and preparing at the same time, because that's how you will get it done. So now we are on to the liquid ingredients. Because we did the dry ingredients, now we're going to do all like the liquid ingredients. So I have my pumpkin puree in there already, and you probably, I don't know if you can hear in the background, you can hear my Aldi's meat sizzling away, and you might be able to even hear my washer going. So I have many things going. This is mom life. You guys know, if you are a mom too, leave me a comment down below how you are always multitasking. So anyway, so we got our pumpkin puree in there. I'm going to add some coconut oil, which I microwaved a little bit because mine was kind of hard. It doesn't have to be totally liquefied like that, but it just did. So we're going to add that in there. All right, so next I'm going to add this Califia coconut almond milk. This is the unsweetened. This is the toasted coconut, no carrageenan in it whatsoever, which is always great. You can also add, the recipe calls for either water or any sort of non-dairy milk of your choice. I'm going to use this because this has like no carbs in it, so it's not going to add any extra carbs into my waffle. So we're going to add that in as well. So next I'm going to add my sweetener, and although it does not call for this, I'm all out of like my like Swerve. You can either use Swerve, or there's many other different like sweeteners that you can use. There's even like the liquid sweeteners like stevia, and I think Pure is some other brands. So I'm all out of that right now, but I do have these Jordan skinny syrups. And this is what they look like if you're not familiar. These are the Jordan skinny syrups. A lot of times I use these in my coffee, and I also use them. I did a pumpkin donut recipe where I use these as well. I do have a link for them where you can get like $5 off your purchase. It's just like a like a friend referral link. But I'm going to try this. I figured this might be good in here. This is the maple bourbon pecan flavor, so I'm going to add that in as well. And it's 0 calories, 0 sugar. So that'll just give it that little extra sweetness and some extra flavor as well. And yet another ingredient that is not on the original recipe, but I just love the flavor of vanilla when I am baking, so I'm going to add some of this as well. Also, they do sell like other flavors of extracts. Like they have a maple flavored one, which is really great. I don't know what brand it is. You could just probably look it up on Amazon. That would work really well. Also or you can just omit it. But I just love the extra flavor that vanilla gives to baked items. So I'm just going to probably add maybe about a teaspoon of this. And now we are ready to mix up our wet ingredients. And as you can see, my coconut oil did sort of harden a little bit because I just didn't get to it fast enough, which is okay. It's going to blend in all fine with your with the dry ingredients. It's perfectly fine if that happens, because everything else is so cold. So that's why why it hardens up. But like I said, it's all good. It'll work. Like I say, you always make it work, whatever you are making. All right, so now we're just going to add those dry ingredients in, and we're going to blend this all up. All right, so here is what the dough looks like when it is done. It is a lot thicker than a traditional, like pancake or waffle batter will be, because it is keto. You have to let it sit for a few minutes because you have to kind of let the psyllium husks kind of bind to the wet ingredients, because it kind of that's just basically what keeps it all together. Now, because there's like no egg or anything like that in here, and then you're going to just roll it up into balls, and you're going to put those into the waffle maker and make some yummy waffles. She does have in her cookbook just a traditional waffle recipe, which I have tried before, so I do know that this is probably going to come out really good because it's probably the similar recipe, just has the pumpkin in it. But that's basically what it's going to look like. So we're going to roll this up, and we're gonna get this made into some waffles. So before we get those waffles going, I just wanted to share with you guys that the plant-based meat from Aldi's is all cooked and browned up, as you can see. This one takes a little bit longer to cook, and it just, as you can see, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, it does have a different texture to it. It's a little bit more, I guess you could say, like grainy almost, and there isn't as much fat in it as the Beyond Meat. So I did add a little bit of some extra oil, some coconut oil, to add some good fats to it as well. So I'm just going to put this in a bowl, and this will be ready for myself for throughout the week, and my daughter as well, because she is vegan, so she is welcome to this also. So we're going to just put this away, and then we're going to get back into those waffles. All right, so here's how we're going to be making the waffles. I absolutely love this little mini dash waffle maker. I know this is all the rage all over social media, Instagram, YouTube. I know everybody's, especially everybody in the keto community, it seems like, has this, because they like to make those, what are they, chaffles, where you do like the egg and the cheese. I've made those for my family who does eat eggs, and they do enjoy them, but it is a great waffle, traditional waffle maker as well. I do have like a large one which makes like the big like Belgian waffles, but I absolutely love these. I just love I love the size of them. It is perfect. So this is what it looks like. Let me open it up so you guys can see what it looks like on the inside. And what I did was I just put a little bit of some coconut oil in there and just brushed it all over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an ice cream scooper instead of rolling the dough into a ball. This is very convenient if you have one. So I'm just going to scoop it up, put it in there, and we're going to get these waffles cooking. Alright guys, so my waffles are all complete. Look how yummy and delicious these are. I mean, they just cooked up so nicely. Like I said, I have tried her recipes before in her cookbook, and I just love them so much. And it just happened to be randomly that I happened to come across this on Pinterest. So I was like, awesome, because I really enjoy her recipes. I will link everything down below, like her website and all that. She doesn't even know, I can't remember her name, the author, which I apologize. I should have looked before I started filming, but I know I've mentioned her so many times, but her website is Meat Free Keto is the website where you can find, she has a lot of recipes and things like that, and she's on Instagram. Like I said, she doesn't even know that I'm sharing this, but her recipes are so good. So if you are trying to be low carb, keto, vegan, whatever it is, definitely go check them out. And this actually made 10 altogether, and I did taste one, and they are so delicious because I just had to taste it and see how they were. But I'm going to put these aside for the week, and they'll be great as either breakfast or a little snack, or whatever it is. And they are only 1.5, I think they're just about like 1.5 net carbs per waffle. So that's what it broke it down to, which is really great. So I mean, you could have 2 of these and your carbs are really low. Use your favorite low sugar, no sugar syrup, or you can just leave it as is. Put a little, butter on there, vegan butter if you're vegan. And these are so good. And you can even, actually recently I purchased the Swerve confectioner sugar, which would probably be amazing on here. So I don't know if there's any other brands that do a no sugar confectioner sugar. Oh my goodness, try to say all those words together, it's too much. Anyway, so that would probably be really, really good on here as well. So I'm going to pack these up and put these aside, and we are just going to continue along with the food prep, and we're going to make some vegan keto tortillas now. Okay, so now that the waffles are all done and the vegan plant-based meats are all cooked and ready to go, we are on to the last thing that we are going to be food prepping for today. So I'm going to be making, these are called coconut flour and psyllium flatbreads, but I call them tortillas because they come out just like a tortilla. I made them once before. I found the recipe on Pinterest. I'll link it down below for you guys so you guys can check it out. They were so good. I was really amazed by how they came out, and they were pretty easy to make. I kind of adjusted a few things when I did it, which I'll probably share as we go along. But these are the basic ingredients. It's coconut oil, some psyllium husk, coconut flour. You can use any sort of seasoning that you want. Last time I used garlic powder, which I'm all out, but I thought it might be fun to put maybe some everything but the bagel seasoning. This is actually the Aldi's one, so I know they call it Who Needs the Bagel Seasoning. I know every store calls it something different because nowadays every store carries this. Even Walmart, Sam's Club, they all have it. And then also some baking powder as well. So I thought that might be something different to try. And then it calls for boiling water as well, which I'm going to boil that up. And I'm going to make my mixture, and then I will show you what it looks like after I'm all done. Okay, so here is what the dough looks like when it is all done. You can see it makes a nice dough. It is really thick. It's very similar to like a traditional, flour dough. And I did double the recipe because that's my thing usually is if I make something like this, I like to double it, and that way I can, freeze, keep some in the fridge and freeze some. And I have not frozen, I didn't freeze them the first time I made them. So this will be a test. I'm sure they will be perfectly fine. You can probably just pop them in the microwave. What I'll probably do is like layer them with like some parchment paper, just that way they're easy to pull apart. But basically it says to just roll these in balls, and then you're going to roll them out so they are really flat. And what I found what worked last time when I made them was I used a bowl to kind of shape them to make a perfect round shape, because I don't think the original recipe says to do that. It just kind of says to just roll them out. But I found that they fit in the frying pan a little bit better if I shaped them out using a bowl. And the bowl that I use fits perfectly, is the perfect size of my frying pan, so it just makes them work really, really well. So, whenever you guys try a new recipe, sometimes you gotta tweak it a little bit and find what works for you. So, don't be discouraged if you do try a recipe and it doesn't work the first time. You gotta kind of try different things. So, like I said, that's what I found that worked first time I did it. So that way now, the second time I'm making it, I can do them a little bit better and faster. So I'm gonna get this rolled out, and we're gonna get these frying in the pan. All right, guys, so I just totally forgot, as I just said before, you know, sometimes you gotta tweak the recipe, and it does say to roll them in balls, but I forgot what I did last time was, that didn't really quite work for me. So what I did was I just took a bunch of, you know, a small amount of the dough, and I laid it on parchment, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cover it with another piece, or just one piece, and just fold it. And I'm going to use a rolling pin and roll it out, and then once it is rolled out, I'm going to take the bowl and then just cut my tortilla, and that works a lot better. Now, if you don't have a rolling pin, I have this one from, you know, years ago. I invested in a nice one. They're really not that expensive, but if you don't have one, use a glass or a cup or a can, whatever you have around, you know, make it work. You know, you can just, you know, use whatever you have. And I find that works. So, you know, like I said, I just happen to have this one from a long time ago because I love to bake. So basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this on here. We're going to roll this out, and then we're going to cut out our tortillas. All right, so here is what the dough looks like. I rolled it out really, really, really thin. You know, you might have to just play around with what works, you know, what works for you. But just roll it out as thin as you can. And this is the bowl that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to put it upside down on top there. And I'm going to shape out my tortillas. So now over here I have a pan heating up, and it doesn't call for oil in the pan because there is oil in it, but I found that last time if I just oiled it first initially, just slightly, just a tiny bit, it's maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon of some coconut oil, you know, and the fats are really good for us anyways. So I have that heating up, and then once that is heated up, we're going to put that tortilla in there, and we're going to get that cooking. All right, there you go. We have our first tortilla in the pan. Perfectly fits in there, and it does say to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. You know, you just want it like you know, lightly browned on each side, and then take it out, and then you can just keep making those tortillas, and we're gonna have some yummy vegan keto tortillas. All right, guys, so the tortillas are all done. It did take a while because you have to roll the dough out, but it's totally worth it. Like I said, I did double the batch, so I'm going to have these for quite a while. It ended up making about 11. I know it said it was going to make, the original recipe was 6, and I doubled it, which would have been 12. But some of them were a little bit thicker than, you know, I had hoped for when I was rolling them out, but it's all good. So they will be basically about a little over 3 net carbs each, so that's really good. They're, you know, a pretty large size, like a typical tortilla size, so most likely I would only have one of these for one of my meals, but I just want to show you guys how flexible they are. I mean, you can see they are so flexible, like a traditional tortilla. So I highly recommend these, and you know, like I said, it does take a little bit of time. So I'm going to put some of these in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to store the rest in the freezer. All right, guys, so this is everything that I meal prepped to get me started for the week. You know, this will just get me kind of started, and will be for several meals. And like I said, some of it is also some freezer prep as well. So we have the waffles right here, and some of those are going to go in the freezer. And then the same thing with the tortillas, because there was made so many of them. But this will be just so great to have on hand for any, you know, meal, you know, whether it's dinner or lunch. And then here are the vegan plant-based meats as well, so I can grab these and go. These are going to be great in the tortilla to make some Mexican one night. So like I said, it's a very simple meal prep today, but I just wanted to show you guys these few things, just, you know, like I said, because it will get my week going. And make my life a little bit easier when I am on the go. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you want to see, like a recipe for, or, you know, something you want to see me meal prep. Leave me your comments down below and let me know. If you're new here, I would love for you guys to subscribe, hit that red button before you leave, and also give this video a thumbs up because it really helps the channel to grow, and it shows YouTube that you are enjoying them. So as always, guys, I thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon. Bye, guys.